Keep it going for Chris Dulgar, everybody. Good show tonight. So there's like one person went to the parade. Did anyone else go to the parade? There's new people here. Just one person. I don't know. I don't get parades, and I used to do parades a lot. I was a drum major. One of the weird things I did as a kid, from 17 or from 16 to 19, I was a drum major in one of Canada's #1 marching bands. And by the end of it, and I remember I did all types of parades. And one time I was right behind George H.W. Bush. That was a big one. There was Secret Service there in Wyandotte, Michigan. And by the end of it, all I would think when I'm walking down the parade, and we were a great band, or probably one of the more entertaining parts of it, and I just looked at people and be like, what the fuck are you doing at the stupid parade? Why is there any draw for this? And I was talking to my girlfriend earlier on, I'm like, why do people come to parades? And she's like, it's a good way to get candy. And I'm like, this is the most inefficient way to get candy. As a kid, there are so many better candy scams. I could go into it, but that would just be a diversion. And this one in particular, St. Patrick's Day, it's just, I don't know. For me, as a regular drinker, is just the amateur night number 2. It's an amateur day. It's when people who don't drink try to get in the game and fuck themselves up. Seriously. Don't do it. Just only followed by New Year's Eve, which is a rank amateur night of drinking. And I'm a hateful, spiteful person. I've come to terms with that over the past year. And I realized at New Year's Eve, what I like to do is I don't go out. I stay away from New Year's Eve, from the fucking clock. But no, around 12:45, that's my time. And I go out and I call it the Trail of Tears. And that's when you go out on this block of Saint Laurent and you see the women who had such great expectations about 5 hours ago. They were flat ironing their hair. They were getting themselves all correct, and they go out and their New Year's Eve was shit. And you just see them bawling all up and down Saint Laurent. I drink that fucking pain like a vampire. That's my favorite part of New Year's Eve. Getting frissons just thinking about it. Can't wait for next year. Just amateur nights. I stay away from that. I'm a real drinker. Do it on stage. One of my most hate, and I hate white. There's nothing worse in the world than white guilt. White guilt is pretty much the worst feeling ever. And this is coming out of left field, but someone last week here was talking about how the Barack Obama, when he was first elected, that was the best night of his life. When he was elected, the moment he was elected, I was across the street playing Mario Kart. Because I knew I did not want to be on the street during the greatest, the apex, the apogee of white guilt ever, which was that night. And I remember I stayed home for and I won the Rainbow Cup. And I played all night, and I ventured out. They called the election sometime around maybe 8 o'clock. I ventured out around 12:30, the next day. And first I walked in the Biff Tech, and I had to give everyone a high five. That's what happened at first. I don't know why everyone just came up to me yo, George, what's up? And my shoulder hurt after 7 minutes of being in the Biff Tech, and then just you must be so happy, and I'm I did nothing. I was playing Mario Kart. Will you turn down the white guilt right now? I'm the same loser comic who's been in the city and is going to go on throughout the entire Barack Obama fucking presidency and not change his presidency and not change at all. Fuck. It was terrible. And then I got a ton of shots. I got a ton of shots out of white guilt. And it was a terrible, I got very drunk and didn't feel presidential the next day. I just felt like a drunk. That was out of left field. I think, I I like hearing that people run. I run a lot. I run. I just made it through the winter. This is like actually the best weekend of running I feel of the year. It's like cold, but not too cold. Yesterday, today is fucking bullshit. I understand. Really, minus 15 is my limit. I'm hardcore till minus 15. I'm like, fuck that. I'm not doing that. But I don't know. When I hear that when chicks are runners, that turns me on. I think runners make better lovers. Really, in the end, because real psycho runners, people who run the mountain every week or every other day, they'll do it in any weather. That's the thing. That's really when you get to runner's madness. It doesn't matter how cold it is. You can be raining. That becomes the whole jazz of it. And there's this elite society of runners. When it's really terrible on the mountain, they're out there still doing it, and they're all like, yeah, and they always give each other shout outs. And it's something about I don't know, when you're you're in the sexual act, and when the girl's okay, yeah, stay right there, keep it like that. Runners are yeah, I can keep it like that. Yeah, all right. Don't they get it, they know how to power through it because you do that for running, so that's. Yeah, I can keep on doing it. Doesn't matter, man. Doesn't matter what type of girl. She's she's spraying in your face. You're like, no problem. No problem. I can keep it right there. I can keep it going. All right. That was too much. The supreme leader of Iran today, at the height of the nuclear talks with America, he said, he came out and I love the way that they quoted this. He's the crowd started saying, "Death to America, death to America," and his response was, "Well, of course, death to America." That goes without saying. And everyone's up in arms today and meet the press and everything about, oh, I can't believe they're saying death to America. But he's I don't know, the supreme leader of Iran. That's kind of his job just to do that. He looks at everything from a theological point of view. And if you look at everything just from a theological point of view of America, it's yeah, death to America. They do some pretty fucking raw shit over there. Nicki Minaj is still alive, of course. Death to America. She's causing tons of shit. I just don't think it's kind of just but I don't think you should take it seriously. I think it's kind of when I look at my little brother and we're 14 years old, I'm I'm gonna kill you. It's kind of that kind of death. It's wasn't gonna murder my little brother. It's just I'm very angry at them for what he was doing. I think that's how we should always put some context into the supreme leader of Iran. We're still negotiating with you about nukes. It's just death to America for all. The Nicki Minaj shit. Yeah, we get it. We're evil people. I love the Maury Povich audience because they are the most real audience out there. They boo you, they get angry, and one time this woman came on and she was heavy set. She was a big woman, and everyone was just no! They fat shamed her right off the bat. That's some honest shit, man. Because most people think like that. We learn to suppress it in our everyday society, but not the Maury audience. The Maury audience is this is pantomime, man. Shame that fucking fat bitch, and it's not right. It's just what they fucking do. I'm just fucking observing what's going on there in reality, ladies and gentlemen, and that audience, because it's if you're walking down the street, and there's some out there, that person with the giant football goiter on the side of their neck, and the mental gymnastics you do when you walk by them of what degree do I look at it, or what I do is act normal, George, act normal, which turns into I just, I do this 1,000-yard stare to not look at, and they see that. And they see that. And instead of being the Maury Povich audience, go, nah! I do something that's almost subtle and so much worse in its impact. Anyways, I gotta work on that one. I'm George Braithwaite. Take care. Have a good night.
One more time for George Hamilton Braithwaite.